your proposals for judicial reform. And one particular section of your speech struck me because I was an accredited mediator prior to my appointment to the JBC. And you actually confirmed that mediation and judicial dispute resolution are huge successes in the battle to decongest the dockets of trial courts. In fact, you cited earlier that about 78% of the cases referred to mediation are successful. So mediation is indeed a useful tool to decongest the dockets. But I observe that the mediation center established to oversee and manage mediation center units all over the country is merely a division at the Judicial Reforms Office of the Philippine Judicial Academy. As it does not have a budget of its own, it has to rely on whatever available funding PhilJA can spare. The mediation units nationwide are managed by mediation supervisors who are contractual, not regular employees who have served for more than 5 years. In my personal experience, when the mediation unit was set up in Tuguegarao, we had to squat at the IBP office. We had to use the facilities of the IBP and the courts just to encode and print out our compromise agreements because the printer, only the printer from the court came to the unit 6 months later. What to you needs to be done in order to enhance mediation and to ensure its continuity, as well as judicial dispute resolution, as a way to declog court dockets?
Well, you're right. Right now, the offices of the mediation centers are in an ad hoc capacity. But I have already asked the PhilJA board to do some computation. How much does it cost to resolve one case through mediation as compared to resolving a case through trial? And I'm sure the cost of resolving a case through mediation is very cheap compared to a full-blown trial. And in fact, in mediation, the cost of mediation is paid for by the parties. So it's very inexpensive on the part of the government. So with this data, I want to present this to Congress, that Congress must give us funds to set up these mediation center offices because it's costing the government much less to settle cases through mediation than to have these cases go through a full-blown trial. And those are the figures that I think Congress will understand. And the PhilJA now are cracking up the numbers for this, and I hope to bring this up to Congress.
One more criticism about mediation is that the minute you file a case, you have to pay for mediation fees, even if there's no mediation unit where you are filing that case. And we have yet to see what happens to these fees. Supposedly, I mean, I would like to think that they should be segregated and to be used really for the Philippine Mediation Center, but we have yet to see that.
Well, all the funds paid for mediation fees are used for mediation. First of all, since it's a new concept, we have to train mediators, and we spend for that. So part of that of the money used in training come from the mediation fees. Now, we have already mediation units in 80% of our courts, and it's now being rolled out to the balance of the 20%. So what you said earlier, that mediation fees are still paid even in places where there are no mediation, but that will soon be over. But rest assured that all the mediation fees paid by litigants go to train mediators, to pay the contractuals who are manning the mediation centers. The funds are segregated. And they're not even the interest income go back to the fund. The COA wanted to require us to remit the interest income to the National Treasury. But I said, these are trust funds given by the litigants for mediation of their cases. And this mediation is paid to a private mediator. So these are not actually public funds, but these are funds of litigants to resolve their own case. And, well, I think they agreed. So we are not remitting anymore the interest on these funds, but we're plowing it back into the principal.
Thank you, Chief. I am actually happy that we have an acting Chief Justice who is computer savvy. And I was happy to note that you have already distributed nationwide USB 3G wireless thumb drive, which will allow connectivity with judges nationwide. That's on the assumption that they are all computer literate. Do you think we should make that a requirement under the JBC for an applicant to be computer literate before they can become judges?
Well, first of all, the bidding for the USB thumb drives will take place tomorrow pa, because the court had to approve it, and bank approved it, and the bidding is for tomorrow. But before the end of August, we will be able to start distributing this to all the courts. Now, your question whether the JBC should require applicants to be computer literate, I think computer literacy in terms of at least knowing how to use the word processor is essential now. I mean, I don't know of any graduate of law school who doesn't know word processing now. So I think we should train our judges to use also word processors, because it will help them in legal research, because they can just copy and paste from the e-library, they can download, and it's practically essential. We have created an e-library which contains all the decisions of the Supreme Court from 1901 to the present. It contains all the laws of the Philippines from 1900 to the present. It contains all the rules and regulations that are on file with ONAR, because these are the rules that have public, that affect the public. And we are now adding the presidential issuances. So it will be unfortunate, really, if judges do not use the e-library. And I will go along that they should be trained how to use the computer.
Thank you, Chief. Now, apart from the connectivity, allowing them access to the e-library, I understand that you are also going to use this as a case monitoring system, because they will have to download their reports. I hope that there has already been an effort to, because I think one of the problems in case monitoring is the integration of the different systems, because sometimes it is not compatible. The reporting system cannot be done electronically because of the incompatibility of the systems. So that the information, especially for us here in the JBC, when we want to see how a judge has performed, we have to rely, first of all, on their reports, which may or may not come on time. So I think this is also essential in making decisions regarding court administration. But how long down the line do you anticipate it will take for us to be connected so that we can get the information regarding the caseloads?
Well, we have already the case management system of the Court of Appeals in operation for the last 2 years, and it's a huge success. Everybody is saying that it works, and in fact, PJ Reyes said by the end of this year, they will already comply with the constitutional directive that all cases submitted for resolution must be resolved within 1 year for appellate courts. Now, we are replicating this case management system in the trial courts. And before the end of this year, maybe September or November, we will pilot test this in certain courts in Metro Manila. And once we are happy with the system, it will be deployed nationwide, and the system will be uniform. That's why we will not have problems on incompatibility, because everything will be uniform. We will be following the system that originated in Court of Appeals, which we will also use here in the Supreme Court later on by just adapting it.
Thank you, Chief. I have a question on transparency. From what I recall, from being in the court, although that was quite some time ago, there is so much information coming out of the Supreme Court, and for the first time we are conducting